happened. So what does this new deal mean to you?
It's big, obviously. I consider my journey to feel like I have a home with the Nets. And then I'd say in my personal life, I get to retire my parents. And other than that, I mean, it's about the same, man. We're here to win games. We're here to try to, get back to the playoffs, try to win championships. So, that's what I signed up for.
Both Sean and Kenny were talking about what it meant to them to know that a player like you wants to be here and believes in what they're building. Why do you want to be here?
Oh, man, I mean, all credit goes to them and the culture that they've developed, the organization that they've built, the players they put in that locker room, and just the overall tenor and the trajectory that we're on. We all believe in it. And, they also took a chance on me. And so, that's not lost on me at all. And I really appreciate it.
Speaking of that chance it took on you, how have you developed? How have you improved from the day that you walked in here?
Oh, I mean, this is definitely one of the most comprehensive player development programs I've been a part of. Obviously, physically, whether that be athleticism-wise or skill set on the court, has expanded thanks to, Kenny, Adam, our performance staff. And, just being here and being able to actually get minutes, get reps. I've adapted even better to the NBA game than in previous seasons because I've actually been able to play. And obviously there's been growth as a human being, as a man, just in terms of, years in life. So, it's been a great situation for me.
Much of your career has been you kind of betting on yourself and making it work. I mean, obviously this contract could have been 4 years, but it's not. Is this an example of that? I mean, you could hit free agency at 27 in your prime. Is that another example of you betting on yourself?
In terms of specific contractual details, that's all up to Sean and Ray. I think they did a wonderful job in their negotiations. I did not play as large of a role as you might think in that.
But in terms of philosophical, not details.
Oh, philosophically, I mean, I think the best thing about my deal is I get to, in terms of monetarily, I get to retire my parents, and then in terms of the year length, I think it was something that worked out for both sides. And I'm just excited to be here and feel like I have a home.
Did you know that it was kind of close going into the Philly game and figured maybe that 39-point game might ISO?
No, actually, I didn't. I had no idea. I know how that looks. And so, I mean, obviously, even when I sit here and tell you that I had no idea, you guys aren't going to believe me. But, I mean, that's the truth.
How important was the family aspect of it for you and just keeping your family in one place for the foreseeable future?
Oh, that was big time. Obviously this is far from LA, so I'm far from my parents, but being able to have a home, like I said, and not have to move again was big time for me.
How has it affected you that, this year you're asked to come off the bench and yet you've still made a leap forward to 17 points a game, and Kenny says he thinks you can do even more in the future. I mean, what do you see as your progress and where you might go?
I think the best part about, coming off the bench, I kind of knew the role from the beginning of the summer, so it wasn't anything that was, thrust upon me or anything like that. So, I had the correct mindset coming in. I kind of knew how it was going to shake out, how it was going to play out. In terms of my growth and development, I mean, if you look at the minutes I've actually played in the NBA, it's far less than what a typical 25-year-old has played. So, there's a lot of development to go there. And you talk about mileage on my body or whatever it is, there's a lot more to go in pretty much any aspect, no matter how you cut it, how you slice it. There's a lot of room to go. And because of my work ethic, which, I feel is second to none, I'm looking to pushing those limits and seeing how far we can push this thing.
Was there a moment in your journey to where you are right now where you questioned whether or not this day would come?
Of course.
Before coming to Brooklyn.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think the hardest part of the journey was actually the month or so between getting cut by Chicago and actually showing up to Windy City. It was kind of just like a dead month. I just worked out and kind of waited, but you kind of really reevaluate things. And obviously the NBA has started and it's going on and you're not a part of it. Once you kind of get to the G League and you start playing games and you're playing well, there's that optimism returns. But before that, I would say that month or so of dead space was definitely the hardest period in my basketball career, besides being hurt.
Spencer, you've always seemed like a very confident guy, but as you've gotten this opportunity, can you remember a moment or a stretch where you all of a sudden started to say to yourself, like, wait, no, I really can do this, and I can do it at a high level consistently here in the NBA?
I would say moments in your career just kind of come. They're not as defined as maybe a stretch or anything like that. I always go back to my first start, actually with Detroit. We won the game. I had a pretty solid outing, and D-Rose came up to me after and just said he remembered me from pre-draft because Chicago brought me in and checked out my knee, and he was there that day. And he just told me keep going. He was happy to see that I recover and all that stuff. So, a moment like that is really big. Obviously last night having a career high, or last game having a career high was fun. I mean, there's just certain things that are really fun aspects of my road in my career, but I wouldn't say that there's any one stretch that really defined my confidence. That's been built, since I was 5 years old, and that's a credit to my parents, my family in general, them just believing in me and telling me I could do anything I wanted to do in this world.
Along those lines, what you mentioned, D-Rose, I've seen people on Twitter this seems popular. People are happy for you. And
Yeah.
do you have a lot of friends in the league, or is it because maybe your story is not the #1 pick guy who gets rewarded? Why is people drawn to this here?
I think it's a little bit of both. Obviously, I do have quite a few friends in this league, and it's kind of a product of being in a bunch of different situations, and also there being turnover in the Nets locker room. Since I've been here, you just get to see a lot of guys. I haven't been in one situation with one group of maybe 10 or 12 guys that is very consistent, so I've got to meet and form friendships and bonds with a lot of guys across the league. And then, I think when you talk about my story and hopefully it not being done yet, I think that's something that a lot of guys can identify with, whether in the league, overseas, wherever they are, because it hasn't been easy. It hasn't been smooth. And, there's only so many people that get to be the #1 pick and the max player their whole career. A lot of people have to go through some type of turmoil, some type of fight.
Spence, what was the emotion when you finally picked your pen up after signing the contract?
I think when I first picked up the pen, or after I officially signed, I was just really kind of happy. Everything that happened yesterday was really kind of a whirlwind. That's really kind of the experience that I had. Got a couple calls, agent calls, Sean calls, people calling, and then phone starts going crazy because Woj breaks it. It's just, people text you, people calling you, all that stuff. So it's definitely been somewhat of a whirlwind experience. I'm very thankful. It's finalized. It's a done deal, and I'm excited to just get to work and try to do what we've been doing, win some games.
What was the first call out you made? A lot of calls were coming in. What was the first call out that you made?
The first official call out was my dad. Yeah, that was probably like 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock, something like that yesterday. That was pretty cool. My dad said that, and he's not a real emotional dude either. It's kind of like me. But he said he had like one little baby tear that came out. And I was like, man, it's serious. It's serious if you got the baby tear rocking.
Did you get a chance to celebrate? Or did you do anything to celebrate the
I went to dinner, but no, not really. We got a game today. It's not going to be anything crazy. And then, like I said, yesterday was kind of a whirlwind. Really, I just kind of wanted to chill out, just get ready for the game. For me, I know it sounds crazy, but like nothing really changes, man. It's like, we get in this thing for specific reasons. Like I said, I can't stress enough. I'm thankful to be able to retire my parents. That is the biggest thing monetarily. Other than that, basketball-wise, we're not where we want to be, and so we've got to continue to push and go forward. We're trying to make the playoffs. We're trying to, win championships in the future. That's what I signed on to be a part of. And I'm also trying to push my limits individually, and hopefully that helps the ball club as much as it possibly can.
And when you look at this organization and where it was when you arrived, it was pretty close to ground zero. So now you see yourself and Joe as building blocks, some draft picks as building blocks. What do you think that message is to the league about what could possibly happen here?
I think, like you said, it was ground zero. I think we're kind of in maybe the infant stages, and then obviously this summer will dictate a lot in terms of how quickly the upward trajectory is. But it's something that obviously me and Joe want to be a part of. It's something a lot of those guys in that locker room want to be a part of, and that's what we're excited about. We really believe in the talent that we have, and we really believe in the direction going forward.
Spence, beyond basketball, you know, there's a lot of factors that go into signing. What about calling Brooklyn home excites you? Like being in this city, calling it home, you know, being kind of home.
I mean, the best part about calling Brooklyn home is this city's accepted me. You know, I would like to say I identify with Brooklyn grit. You talk about the journey and the fight and kind of the ruggedness that, you know, New Yorkers in general, but Brooklyn specifically carries. I like to say that my road embodies that. And so for me, it's a perfect synergy, a match made in heaven. And, you know, obviously to now know I'll be here for 6 years, I'm excited.
All right, guys, thank you.